Hello and welcome to USF Housing Live. I'm your host, Elizabeth Fry, the Assistant Director for Communications and Marketing here at USF Housing and Residential Education. And I'm here to help you learn how to live the Bulls life here at USF. We're here to answer all of your questions and concerns tonight about residential education. So if you have a topic that you would like us to cover, no problem. Just leave us a question in the comments and we'll answer it throughout tonight's show. Now, I'm here with Renee Ford. She is the Program Director for Academic Initiatives and Living Learning Communities, and she's here to answer any questions you have about the academic resources that are available to students living on campus, as well as any questions about our residential community programs. So without further ado, Renee, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Elizabeth?
Great. We're very happy to have you on tonight.
Happy to be here.
So to kick things off, just tell us a little bit about who you are and what your role here is at USF.
Yeah, of course. So I've had the pleasure of working at USF for almost 10 years. I serve as the Program Director for Academic Initiatives and Living Learning Communities here in residential education. Excuse me. And in my role, I primarily focus on developing academic initiatives, programming, and support resources for students to accentuate and support their learning experience outside of the classroom within their residential halls.
Now, one of the big parts of your job is our residential community programs.
Yes.
And kind of overseeing all of that. Those are home to our living learning communities and themed communities. So can you talk to us a little bit about what those residential community programs or RCPs actually are?
Yeah, of course. So these are programs that are created in mind with official partnerships from academic colleges, departments here on campus, as well as other areas that allow students to form community within their own community. So they're able to connect with other students who have similar majors, similar career interests, similar personal interests, and develop a community, a home away from home, where they're able to learn together, study together, attend social events together, connect with faculty and staff within their halls, and also develop their skill sets and develop themselves as human beings.
And this is a huge draw for our new
Absolutely.
students. This is really, they're really designed mostly for them. And we have a lot of different options here, really something for almost everybody to be a part of. So can you talk to us about what the different offerings are with our RCPs?
Yeah, we are lucky enough to have 10 RCP programs. We have literally 200 majors on campus, so we definitely can't support everyone, unfortunately, but we do have 8 living learning communities that are connected with degree granting programs here on campus. I'm going to try to remember all of them. We have the, in Juniper Hall, the Honors College LLC that's connected with the Judy Genshaft Honors College. In Poplar Hall, we have 5 LLCs. We have the Bulls and Health LLC with the College of Public Health, the Engineering LLC with the College of Engineering, the Nursing LLC with the College of Nursing, and then we have 2 LLCs associated with the Muma College of Business, which is the Bulls Business Community and the Zimmerman Advertising Program LLC. In Beacon Hall, we have our Rising Health Professionals LLC that's affiliated with the College of Arts and Sciences. We have our Stonewall Suites, which is supported by our Office of Multicultural Affairs. They also have a portion of our Holly C apartments for that LLC as well. And in our Maple Hall, we have our Education LLC affiliated with the College of Education and the ROTC LLC affiliated with the ROTC program here on campus.
It's impressive to name all those off. You didn't miss a beat. But if you guys did miss one of the ones that she listed off, we do have all of those on our website as well, just for you to check those out and see those eligibility requirements as well.
Yes.
Now, we mentioned earlier that this really is designed with our first year students in mind, but is this something, are these communities something that our returning students can be a part of as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So a few of our LLCs are open to all students who are in the program despite their year. So the Honors LLC specifically and the ROTC LLC, as well as Stonewall Suites themed communities. They all accept students from any year as long as they continue to have a passion for the subject. Every other LLC is primarily first year focus, while some of them do allow students to come back in the forms of peer mentors to support the next incoming class of freshman students.
And why is that, Renee? I mean, this is really designed for our first year students, but it makes it really unique to give them a way to get connected, right?
Yeah, of course. Not only connected, but also to build community. It's really important that as you're coming in as a first year student into a new college experience, into a new place, on your own for the first time, it's a really daunting and overwhelming experience. Yeah. And a lot of times students are trying to figure out how to manage their class loads, how to kind of adult for the first time, and also how to make new friends when they've probably spent the last 12 years of their life with a group of friends. So it's a great opportunity for students to learn together, grow together, but also have a common thread that helps them to connect, build those initial connections, and then they could kind of, find the details that will make them, a connected community.
And I know that this is something we talk about all the time, so for us it's, second nature to just understand this, but you mentioned the different areas where these RCPs are located. Can you kind of expand a little bit on how these students are clustered together when they're living in those spaces?
Absolutely. So many of our communities are in suite style residential halls, and this allows students to have to be roomed together, but they do have a shared living space among the entire floor. That's kind of a living room space that has couches, has desks, has a TV, so they're able to still have their personal spaces in their rooms with their roommate, but they can come out into the community and congregate. They can create study groups, they can hang out and watch TV, they can have socials, and it's a way for them to, again, not I was going to say force interaction, but you're not forcing interaction. It comes naturally because you want to leave your room and you have a space to do so that's comfortable and that other people will normally be gravitating to.
And for the students that are in our LLCs, I mean, these are students they're also seeing in their classes as well. So it's familiar faces all around.
Yeah.
Now, I know that this is different depending on which LLC or theme community we're talking about, but what are the requirements that are in place to join an RCP?
Absolutely. So all of our RCPs have different eligibility requirements. So on our website, each RCP has its own designated page that specifically lists out the eligibility requirements. For most RCPs, being a student on campus and being in the major career interest or social interest for that RCP is automatically going to gain you entry. So when you log into your housing portal, you'll normally see our themed communities, which is ROTC and Stonewall, because that's open to everyone. And then any other student will have to have either the major or the honors designation in order to gain access to that application. So based on your major or based on that designation, you should be able to see what other LLCs you qualify for. If you don't see something but you think that you should be qualified for it, you can always reach out to our email address, livinglearning@usf.edu, for us to double check to make sure that you have access to what you need to.
And one of the next things I was going to ask you was something we kind of already touched on, which is the benefits of being in an RCP. But for a student, I know we talk to them all the time at our Admitted Students Day events, and sometimes they're on the fence about joining. So what do you like to tell people who are kind of considering whether or not they want to be in one of these communities?
I know I personally participated in a community like this in college, and it was really, paramount to my connections on campus, to me learning about the different offerings on campus, and it really helped me to gain ground as a freshman student and to start seeking out opportunities. It really encouraged me to join groups, seek out scholarships, and seek out organizations, and really helped me grow personally and pre-professionally. So I personally know all of the great benefits of being in an RCP. Specifically in our programs, we have coordinators that are professionally housed in their home departments. And one of their main jobs is to curate really individual experiences for a specific career, for a specific major, or for a specific group that really helps to kind of remind students why they're here in college, why they're pursuing specific areas, and helps them to connect what they're learning in class to a real world experience. So our LLCs will do, our health related LLCs will do visits to hospitals and health facilities so that you can actually see where you might potentially be working one day. Our business and advertising LLCs do at least 3 company visits every semester so that these students can actually see where they might be interning one day, what are the different types of business areas they can pursue. And they're doing this before they ever have to take their advanced classes, before they ever have to seek out an internship. So they're already getting a sneak preview into what some of their junior and senior counterparts are doing. So it's a great way for students to kind of really engage themselves in their area and take advantage of professional and academic resources that isn't available to everyone.
It's almost a way to get a little bit ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
Almost, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's testament too that you were part of these programs yourself, and now here you are helping to run them. So that's amazing. Let's talk about deadlines for a second. So with our current application for new students for
Right.
housing, which you do have to complete the housing application in order to go in and also complete a RCP application as well. Our priority deadline is April 7th. Is there a deadline to apply to be in an RCP?
Right now, for those programs, there's not. We have a rolling deadline. We're essentially open until we're filled. And filling normally happens around mid-May. So if we do set a deadline, that's likely when it will be. But right now, the best way of getting into the LLC is to apply right now.
Yeah. So if you're interested, go online, see if you are eligible, and submit that application.
Yeah.
What about costs? Are there any costs associated with joining?
So they're not costs affiliated with applying, as long as you filled out your general housing application and paid your $50 application fee, then you have access to apply to an LLC for no additional cost. Now, the majority of our LLCs do have a cost associated with it for the programming aspect. So the majority of our LLCs cost $150 per semester, which I think is pretty good bargain, right? We have one LLC that is $250 per semester and two others that are $350 per semester, but that's the highest that we go. And those LLC fees are usually associated with the cost of going to these different sites, paying for access to certain events, paying for swag and other giveaways that come with participating in the LLC, such as t-shirts, sweaters, swag bags, and also access to different materials.
So it's worth it.
Definitely worth it.
We do have a question from social media. So one of our incoming freshmen asks if they're looking to major in biomedical sciences, specifically the BSMD track, which LLC would you recommend, the Honors LLC or Rising Health Professionals LLC?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Those are two great programs. They would qualify for both of them, so they would have to make a choice. They can apply for both and then make a choice, right? I can say that the Rising Health LLC is smaller than the Honors College, so they might have a better chance of getting in the Honors LLC than Rising Health. But if they are accepted to both, if I would make a recommendation, I would probably recommend that they go with the Rising Health LLC, because that is specifically a one-year program. Whereas the Honors LLC is open to all honors students at any point in their academic career. So a student can participate in RHP their first year and then apply to be in the Honors LLC the next year.
Okay, a little best of both worlds situation there.
Absolutely.
Another question we have is, when will the Honors LLC acceptances come out for FTIC for those who already applied? And the second part of that question is, and what's the criteria for selection other than being admitted to the Honors College?
Great questions. So right now we are focusing on our non-FTIC students, so we're probably not going to see acceptances for our first year students until about mid-March through April. Now, if you are admitted into the Honors College LLC, the great thing about that is that you're guaranteed a place in Juniper Hall. Therefore, you don't have to select a room for general selection. What will happen is that when you do get your time frame for selection, you will be limited to the Judy Genscheft Honors College space in Juniper Hall. So you'll be able to select, but you'll only be able to select from that space, which makes things a lot simpler because you're not having to figure out where you're going to go. You already know where you're going to be. You just have to choose a floor and a room. The second part of that question was,
what's the criteria for selection other than being admitted to the Honors College?
The only criteria that I'm aware of is a strong application, right? You being an honor student automatically grants you the opportunity to apply, but we want students who want to be there, right? So even though living there does guarantee you a space to live on campus, we want students who are going to engage, who are going to participate, who want to give back to their community, who want to learn from their community, and who want to be good stewards of friendship and support on that floor. So the coordinators are looking for strong applications that talk about not only what are they going to get from the community, but what they plan on giving back.
One thing I want to mention, because you talked about this, about not having to go through room selection if you were accepted. And I think that that's a strong plus if you are considering being a part of an RCP, because we know room selection can bring a lot of emotions and maybe some stress with it, just going through that process. So if you are applying to be in an RCP and you get accepted, can you talk a little bit about how our programs and communities are only going to admit as many students as we have beds in those communities?
Absolutely. So of our 10 RCPs, 9 of them do specific assignments. So that means when you apply to them and you're accepted, it is assumed that you are going to be in that space. And what will happen is that you'll be placed into a bed space with other RCP members based on the answers that you gave in your application and in your housing preferences. So it's a great way to, again, make sure that you have a space, but also know that you're going to be paired with someone who has a similar major, similar career interest, similar personal interest. And that's a way to build community because you all are going through the same thing. Only the Honors College LLC students have to select because it is a larger space, so we wouldn't want to assign 400 students, so they get to select themselves, but they'll be limited to the spaces that are open in Juniper Hall. So that way, when they do go to selection, they'll be able to really focus their choices to Juniper Hall to choose the specific floor the specific floor or room that works for them.
And I know that our team is working hard to try to make those placements prior to our room selection, which will be April 15th. So if you are accepted into an RCP and you want to be a part of an RCP, you would potentially know your room assignment prior to room selection, and then you wouldn't have to go through that process.
Exactly. But what I will say is that as long as you get an email saying that you are accepted, you have a reserved room.
That's awesome. That's a huge plus.
Yeah.
Plus, not to mention all the benefits of the community, but that's just an added bonus in and of itself. Okay, so residential community programs, that's only half of your job here. You are a very busy lady, so let's talk about academic initiatives.
Yes.
What is academic initiatives and what services does it provide?
So academic initiatives is our complete banner for student support and guidance through their academic careers. So RCPs are considered an academic initiative, but we also host signature events throughout the year that help to connect students to faculty and other learning opportunities throughout the year. So we host about 2 to 3 events per semester. My team of 2 academic initiatives coordinators and we put on a variety of events to kind of make sure that faculty and staff are aware of the residents living on campus and that students have a direct pipeline to connecting with those persons. Some of our major events include our house calls events that happens every fall. This is where we recruit about 40 to 50 faculty and staff members to visit our residential halls one night and just connect and engage with students through social events, through programming, through panels, or just by knocking on their door and saying, hey, how you doing? You know, so that's a great way for students to meet the people who they're seeing in their classroom, but in a very low stakes, low key kind of way, recognizing that these are people too who were once students and could give them a lot of advice and guidance. We also host an event called Finals Reviews at the end of every semester where we reach out to professors who teach really large, really high stakes subject areas like chemistry, biology, organic chemistry, statistics, some of our more challenging classes, and they offer finals reviews for all students in our Marshall Student Center, so students have additional support right before their exams. If they're really freaking out, they're not sure how well they're going to do, they have an opportunity to get one more structured finals overview from a professor who teaches the class. So it's a great way for students to get that additional support, but also potentially hear from a professor who teaches the same subject, but they didn't get a chance to hear from that person in their own class. So now they get a different perspective on their subject area. In addition to our signature events, we also have a faculty fellows program and a faculty in residence program where we organize and outreach and recruit professors and faculty on campus who really want to get involved with residential students. So they commit to participating in 2 to 3 events per semester, whether it's events that they host themselves in residential halls or some of our residential community staff members, as they're hosting in-hall events, might invite staff to serve on a panel, to talk about something that they're passionate about, to host an event of a personal interest of theirs. So it's just a way, again, for students to really meet the people who are going to be instructing them for their next 4 years, but in a more casual setting, to learn more about them as people, to network professionally, and to grow their skills.
And just another unique feature that we have, a part of academic initiatives, is the faculty in residence. And I think that's a really cool thing that we have available to our students. So talk a little bit about the benefits, what it is, first of all, and then what that provides for our residents.
So some of our faculty fellows who go above and beyond, we invite them to apply for our faculty in residence program, which allows them to live on campus for anywhere from 2 to 4 years to really dig in and engage with students on a very personal level. So they actually live in a space in the hall, and they're able to host more intentional and personal events with students, whether it's office hours, whether it's coffee and tea events where they're just hanging out in the lounge and inviting students to come out and talk to them. They host what's called subject matter events. So we know that our teachers are extremely brilliant people, but they're also regular people who have a ton of interests. So we have our faculty and residents host yoga classes and cooking classes and take students on field trips, and sometimes just really fun outings like going out running, going out biking. We had a faculty in residence take students kayaking one time.
Oh, that's fun.
So it's just a way for our faculty who want to give back and really connect with students on a deeper level, an opportunity to do so in their halls. And then our students will have this additional access to persons who are skilled in particular areas, but also have a knowledge of student affairs and can answer some of their basic questions when they're freaking out, when they need just a little bit of guidance and a little bit of support from someone who's gone through it already.
So living on campus, it's an experience, but it's also being able to take that academic support to the next level.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned, for example, the finals review. So the things that Academic Initiatives provides to our residents, are these resources that are only available to our residents here at USF?
Not at all. So all of the events that are hosted are open to anyone who is on campus and can attend, right? So a lot of our residential spaces are key access. So of course, the events that happen in many halls are only going to be available for the students who live in those buildings or the friends that they might invite. But for some of our community-wide events and our major initiatives, we do open it and promote it to students all throughout campus. So our finals reviews, we have flyers all over campus, we do email outreaches, and we also encourage our professors who are hosting the events to share it with their departments, so their departments can share it with all of the professors who are teaching the course, so anyone who's taking the class can attend.
That's awesome. Okay, not to switch it up on us really quick, but those were all of our questions about academic initiatives. We did have another question come in regarding the residential community program, so I just want to make sure we answer that before we wrap it up with you tonight.
No problem.
Someone asked, would an exercise science major be an education LLC or a rising health profession?
That is an excellent question.
Okay.
So traditionally, exercise science is a major within the College of Education. So ideally, that student may think that they should be in the Education LLC. However, our Education LLC is primarily focused on individuals who will become K through 12 teachers.
Okay.
So exercise science doesn't always immediately align with that. So we would normally ask that student to consider whether or not they were planning on doing exercise science as a high school teacher or whether they wanted to go into the fields of athletic training or something more health focused, and then rising health profession might be a better fit for them. Okay. If they do decide that they want to apply to rising health professionals, they do have to email us because we have to get approval from the coordinators of that LLC to approve them to get access to the application. Because their major is only going to allow them to apply to the Education LLC, not Rising Health.
Gotcha.
So it's a little bit of an extra step, but once they figured out exactly where they want their career to go, then if they need to contact us, they would email livinglearning@usf.edu with their name, their U number, and a request to gain access to the Rising Health LLC application.
And we know right now that the app is open to them. I just want to, in case we have people joining now that did not hear this earlier, if you log into the housing portal, you don't see the application that you think you qualify for available to you, please send us an email at Living Learning, just so that we can check your eligibility, and there may be a chance that you should see that application and just don't. So we want to hear from you if that is the case. I know that we get a lot of nuanced questions like that specific to our students. We want to help. So
that's right.
One more time, Renee, if anyone does have any questions about these programs, about academic initiatives, where should they reach out?
livinglearning@usf.edu. All one word, no spaces.
Perfect. Nice and easy. Renee, thank you so much for being with us
You're
tonight.
very
We appreciate it.
Had a great time.
Yes, it was amazing, and we hope that you learned a lot about our residential community programs. Again, reach out to livinglearning@usf.edu, and we are happy to answer any additional questions that you may have. We're going to take a very short break, but we will be right back, so don't go anywhere.
Hello, my name is Catalina Velasco. I'm a second-year business advertising major from Clearwater, Florida. This year, I live in Magnolia A. My goal is to be a creative director for an advertising agency, so I'm taking a lot of marketing classes, creative classes, and general business classes to try and achieve that. This year, I'm a campus traditions director for the Center for Student Involvement as part of the Campus Activities Board. Through that job, I get to plan important events like Homecoming Week and USF Week and interact with all my peers. Aside from the HRE scholarship, I've been fortunate enough to receive a finalist position for the pitch competition at the Bellini Center for Talent Development last spring. I also was able to receive the Lee and Dorothy Stokes Memorial Scholarship, which allowed me to study abroad in the USF in London program this summer. Living on campus has enriched my experience at USF greatly. I work in student engagement, so it's really important for me to be on campus and see what we need to keep fueling that school spirit. I like to be close to all my classes and my friends and be able to have everything accessible to me. For future scholarship applicants, I just suggest that they apply. There are so many opportunities out there and they vary so differently on requirements and needs that it's really great to just talk to people and learn more about all the scholarships that are available and just go for them.
Hi Bulls! Today we're going to show you the top 10 items that we recommend for living on campus. First up is good bedding. For your bed, you'll need twin XL size sheets with good pillows and a comforter. Secondly is a mattress pad that can help add more cushion to your bed. A small step stool or storage ottoman is also helpful when your bed is raised. Another perfect addition is a mini fridge under 4.5 cubic feet and a microwave under 1,000 watts. A desk lamp is also perfect for all your late night studying and homework. And pictures from home and wall art help to make the room into your own personal space. A power strip with a surge protector is also great and make sure that all your tech needs remain charged. A good water bottle or filtered pitcher that can be filled with nearby fountains is also helpful too. Shower caddies are also a must for when you need to take all your toiletries to your bathroom. Last but not least, you should have a good laundry basket that you can bring down easily to our on-site laundry rooms. For more information on what to bring, visit the link in our bio. Go Bulls!
Welcome back. If you're just now joining us, this is USF Housing Live. Make sure to type your questions in the comments and we'll answer as many as we can throughout tonight's show. Our second guest for this evening is Lauren Chauvin. She is the Assistant Director for Recruitment, Training, and Leadership, and she's here to answer any questions that you may have about residential assistance. Lauren, we are so excited to have you here tonight. How are you?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. So why don't you start by just introducing yourself and what you do here at USF?
Yeah, so my name is Lauren Chauvin. I work in residential education as the Assistant Director for Recruitment, Training, and Leadership. So in my role, I work a lot with our student leaders, both resident assistants and through some of our leadership organizations that I know we're going to talk about in a little while. And that's really the primary work that I do. So I do their recruitment, their hiring, and their training for all of our student leaders on campus.
Yeah, we have a lot to get to, cover a lot of great stuff.
No.
But, you know, when we introduce ourselves, we say housing and residential education. What is residential education?
So residential education, I would describe as the folks that you see in the residence halls every day. So they are the team that are they're your resident assistants, there are your residence life coordinators, they're your student leaders, kind of the folks that you see every day kind of making our halls run. The housing and residential education side is like our fun marketing people, the people managing the housing applications, things like that. So we work hand in hand, kind of one unit, but we do slightly different work.
That's right, two very different but very important roles here at USF. Let's talk about RAs, our resident assistants. Who are they and what do they do here?
Yeah, so they are student leaders that live in the residence halls with our students, and they provide support in a variety of ways. So every couple weeks they will have what we call Rocky Talks with each of our residents. And they're kind of checking conversations to see what's going really well for you, what are you struggling with, where can we provide support, where can we get you connected on campus, how can we get you involved, things like that. They do some programming for us. They make our halls pretty. So they're the first face of residential education, I would say. So all of our students that live on campus have an RA that is assigned to support them. And so that is the kind of first group that our students get to meet when they show up on campus.
Now, if we have students living in the halls, they're going to hear RAs a lot, obviously, because we have one on every floor, but they're also going to hear RLC. So what is an RLC?
Yeah, great question. So a residence life coordinator, an RLC, is a master's level professional that works in the residence halls to provide student support. So the primary goal of their role is for our students to be successful here at USF and to walk across that stage at graduation. So they do supervise the RAs, they provide academic support, emotional support, things like that. They are case managers that get our students connected to resources and things like that. And they kind of just guide you through the residential experience from start to finish. So every one of our communities has a residence life coordinator that's dedicated to supporting that specific community.
And we use the word community a lot here when we talk about our halls and what that experience will be like for our residents. And really our RLCs and our RAs, they are kind of the center of making that community happen, especially our RAs. So can you talk to me a little bit about what an incoming student can expect as far as community goes that RA is going to help to kind of bring about for them, especially in their first year here?
Yeah, so our RAs are really trained with building community as one of the cores of their role. And so it kind of depends on your floor and who's on your floor, but they will make intentional connections between students. So if I'm having a Rocky Talk with you as an RA and you tell me that you love hockey, I'm going to connect you to Lauren down the hall who also said that she loves hockey. And so now you have an intentional connection that your RA kind of facilitated, that they learned about you. They'll also host some community events, things like that, to really get you engaged. One of the first things that you'll experience when you move on campus, if you move in during grand opening, it will happen on Sunday of that weekend, is your first community gathering. And so in that, we're really trying to get all of the residents together to meet each other, start to make some friends, learn some names, things like that. They'll do some fun icebreakers, things like that. You'll create community standards so that you live together in a positive way and really start to build those connections early. And that's also a great opportunity to tell your RA what you're looking for in that residential experience, things that you want them to do, how they can make that experience great for you. So
almost kind of like a little bit of a matchmaker almost when it comes to building those friendships, building those relationships within your hall. Yeah,
definitely. Share things with your RA because they know people, they'll get you connected to someone or something.
That's awesome. Okay, so RAs are just one of the aspects of kind of what you oversee as far as leadership goes. And we know there's a lot of ways for our students to get involved. So can you talk a little bit about the leadership opportunities that are available to our students within residential education?
Yes. So one of them, of course, is to apply to be an RA. Some other opportunities that are available to our first year students are the area councils. So that's probably your first and easiest way to get involved. So area councils are a group of communities that come together to do fun social programming in the communities. And so, for example, our Summit and our Horizon community are paired up in an area council, and they do events to just bring people together. So it can be anything from a Mario Kart tournament to cookie decorating to a movie night, anything like that. And so that I always recommend as one of the best ways to get involved as a student because it's in your lobby or across the way. So it's really convenient to get involved in area council. And area councils kind of funnel into our residence hall association. So that is like area council for all of campus. So that is a leadership opportunity. You can be in area council and in the residence hall association, RHA. You can be in just RHA, you can be in just area council, but they're similar in that area councils do the programming in the communities and RHA does the programming campus-wide. So a little plug, RHA has an event coming up on March 28th, our annual Res Fest. It's one of our biggest events of the year. It's just a fun opportunity for students to come out to the Castor Coastal lawn, play some games, meet each other, and that's what RHA does all year. So about once a month, they do a large-scale event in a different area on campus.
Which is really exciting. I know all those events are super fun,
Yeah.
and to be a part of actually planning that is quite the honor.
Yes.
You mentioned that this is something that is available to our first-year students. So is there any requirements for them to be able to be eligible to be a part of one of these councils or RHA?
No. So Area Council and RHA are available to students at all class years. The only thing for Area Council, you have to live in the community that you're serving the Area Council. And for RHA, you just have to live on campus. Anybody can be a part of it. Yeah, it's just our resident assistant positions are for upper class students, second year and up. So that's why I said first year students.
Yes, and I know our RA application, that's something that opens up later in the fall, so that's down the line. What about RHA applications, or if they want to get involved, what does that process look like?
So RHA, you can join at any time.
Okay.
So Area Council will host some recruitment events, likely the first or second week of classes. And they'll do an event in your community that kind of shows what Area Council can do, and then you can express interest through that event. If you miss that event or you decide later in the year after attending an event that you want to join, you can always reach out to your RLC or your RA for information on Area Council. But it's very informal to join Area Council. You can be an e-board member, which is an application process, but you can also just be a general body member, show up, plan events, have fun, and that's early in this semester. RHA will start to meet likely mid to late September. We share that information with RAs and RLCs so they'll know when the meetings are, and anybody that lives on campus is welcome to attend an RHA meeting and be a part of that planning as well.
So other than sounding like a really great time and super fun and a great way to get connected, what are some of the benefits of getting plugged in, especially during your first year on campus? I know we have a lot of first years watching and incoming students watching who are curious about this. So what are some of those benefits of getting plugged in as soon as you get here?
Yeah, so I think for me, the most important benefit is the connections that you make. So it is a quick and easy way to make friends and meet people in your communities that live close by. Even if they're in a different community, living on campus is all close by to each other. So it's a great way to build connections. It's also a great way to build some resume skills. So event planning is a huge skill. Like that's a big deal, and you can do different things in your area council or an RHA that match maybe your career goals. So if you are really passionate about graphic design, you can make our flyers for our area council events. You can help us market in different ways for those things. You can kind of serve as a treasurer and help us build our budgets and figure out costs of things like that. So it's really helpful to build different resume skills as well. Those are kind of the top two benefits that I think. Plus, you get to choose the programs that happen in your community. Like,
Exactly.
That's cool. Like, you know.
So when it's a huge success, you're getting all the credit for that.
Exactly, yeah.
So have a good time and build your resume at once. That is exciting.
What more could you want?
What more could you want? So I know applications to be an RA, that is something that happens later in the fall, and I know it's, as you said, open to second years and up. So can you talk a little bit, just for those who may be interested for the next cycle, what that application process looks like and what it takes to actually become an RA?
Yeah, so the next application cycle will be for RAs for the 2026-2027 academic year. And so you are eligible to apply as a first year student because our applications are open for the following academic year, at which point you'd be a second year student. So we open the application typically like September, October, and it's usually due late October, November, somewhere around there. And the first step is to complete the application process. You don't need to live on campus or have any on-campus experience to be eligible. You just need to be enrolled at USF at the time of application. So then we'll go into our application process. Then we go into our workshop process. So that's kind of our version of interviews. We, instead of asking you like, what are your skills? We kind of want to see you play out your skills.
Okay.
So we do some of the things that RAs do in their everyday work in those workshops. And those usually happen in like January with final decisions made mid to late February, early March. So it is like a 5 to 6 month long process, which is why we're so far out in advance. So yeah, that's kind of our timeline for RAs.
5 to 6 month process, but it sounds like in the end, if you are selected to be an RA, it really is worth it to go through that.
Definitely a very rewarding position. And our RAs they say great things about the position. They really do love it.
Well, Lauren, this is super insightful and also super exciting just to know that there's so many different ways for our students to get plugged in as soon as they get to campus without having to have a lot of that experience, just to hit the ground running. So if any of our students watching tonight, they're interested in these opportunities, they want to learn more about anything that you talked about, what is the best way to get in contact with your team?
Yeah, so I always recommend students email our RA Select email. That's what we call it. It is raselect@usf.edu. That is going to be the best place to reach us. You can email us about student leadership there too. It's kind of all organized in one place, so that's going to be the best place for us.
And that RA is going to be one of the first faces you see when you get to campus.
Exactly.
So look for them. They want to meet you, greet you, and welcome you here. So a really great opportunity to be a part of. Encourage you to email Lauren for more information so you guys can be part of it too.
Yeah,
Lauren,
absolutely.
thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course. You'll be back next year.
Can't wait.
If you have any more questions for us tonight, please reach out to us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and our username is @USF Housing on all of our platforms. Or you can call our housing office at 813-974-0001. And remember to join us for our future episodes. Our next stream will be on April 23rd at 6 p.m., where we'll be discussing Bull Hall. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and of course, go Bulls.